We're back. We skipped last week, maybe because we forgot, but we're here. It was probably because we forgot. No, we didn't forget. Things just got away from us and we got busy. But AV Experience is here. We're here with another episode. We watched Nuremberg. We'll talk about that in a minute. Jonathan's got something to talk about with streaming. I think that'll be exciting. I've got heavy things sitting in my garage that hopefully I can get moved and we can play with this weekend and next week. We went out there. That's why I was actually a little bit late jumping on here because we were trying to move these boxes to get them so that we could pull my truck in. And my son and wife tried to lift the other side and just went, nope. And that's where they're going to say. So they weigh 181 kilograms a piece.
Woo! Those are big boys.
They are big boys.
Kilograms.
Kilograms. So, and that's only for two pieces.
What are they? Boxes for what?
Or speakers.
So are they at least covered in the garage now? Can you drive your truck in with them in there? Because it's supposed to thunderstorm. Like I'm getting alerts on my phone that's going to thunderstorm.
Too big. I can't move them.
You better get a tarp or something on it.
Nah.
I mean, like right here, imminent.
Yeah, I know. That's what
thunderstorm.
You know,
incoming National Weather Service.
It happens. Whatever. We'll figure it out. Sitting outside.
So
I can't put the speakers outside.
Sound better.
Hey, manufacturer, I'm sorry. Storm rolled in. Need to pull my car in, so I put the speakers outside. Hopefully that was okay. I hope they're covered under warranty. You think hail damage is covered under warranty for a speaker?
Oh, surely it's in a box, right?
Probably not.
It's just gonna get soggy.
I mean, they are in crates. They each came in their own individual crate.
Pull the truck in backwards, knock them out of the back of the truck, and then use the bumper to push them into the garage. And there you go.
How much is this? So 181 kilograms.
So it's 2.2, 2.3.
For two speakers, the shipment was 800 pounds.
You need a winch.
They are not light.
You could probably get a ceiling winch. In fact, I have one that I'm not using that I'll just let you have.
We'll figure it out.
I haven't used it in years.
It's okay. Because once I get them in the garage, they got to go in the basement. What am I going to do? Just steadily put the winch on Joyce as I move down? Wife comes home. What are all these holes in the ceiling? Well, we were moving speakers, you know. It necessitated putting a winch in the ceiling. I'm sorry, love. This is what happens. This is the pursuit of objectivity and performance.
You got like the ceiling curtain rail for the winch that goes through the house.
It's like the chair on the stairs, the rail that runs up, except I've got one on the ceiling that's just a winch, just a crane, a gantry that runs through my entire house to move stuff.
Make it happen.
If we build another house, that's going to be my thing for the builder. Hey, I need a movable gantry in my house. Can we make that happen? I feel like they've never done that before. No, we're both in Kansas. We live 45 minutes apart from each other, which makes us substantially worse influences on each other's wallets. Probably better for us if we were in different states, but no, we're together.
Just far enough too that it's not super convenient to flop over there and help you move something.
The convenience is not there. We're about 45 minutes apart. It's not a bad drive when you're living in the Midwest, but it's not. Hey, I'll be over there in a minute. That definitely doesn't happen. So let's start with Nuremberg. The movie that we were supposed to watch was Nuremberg. I knew nothing. I mean, I knew what the Nuremberg trials were, so I knew kind of what it was about. Knew nothing else about the movie going in. I thought about you and your
Downfall
movie in Downfall, and I just thought Jonathan's going to adore this movie.
I really liked it. I thought Nuremberg? It was an absolute A. Like I really liked it.
It was fantastic. The acting in it. Oh, Goering. What's his name that plays Goering?
Russell Crowe.
Amazing job.
Yeah.
Amazing. There was not one part of this movie that I felt was poorly done. Just fantastic movie.
I wondered if he'd be able to hold on to that accent, like, you know, Kevin Costner style, where he kind of drifts in and out of an English accent when he's in Robin Hood and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But no, Russell Crowe nailed it. Like he embodied that character. Or embodied a character. Who knows what that guy was actually like, but it was definitely a believable character.
So good. So you loved it.
I did. I watched it with my wife, actually. Megan and I haven't watched too many movies together lately, but we did watch this one together. And she had a mixed feeling about it. But I loved it.
Is it a my wife actually watched it with me. I think she fell asleep halfway through it, though. She's like, "This is too boring." I'm like, "This is not boring at all." I don't know what you're considering is boring. It was,
My
so good.
wife said it wasn't a bad movie. She just said, "How many times do we have to watch these, like, World War II movies, and how many times will they just keep creating them?" Like, she said, "Aren't you bored with this? Like, why do we need to watch this over and over again?" I said, "Frankly, I've never watched anything on Nuremberg before,
No.
and there's a million tales from World War II, and I think they're all interesting." It's not even like we watch that many war movies, we just don't. But I guess she's just feels like, another Nazi type war movie, then why do they keep making them? I From my perspective, I love historical stuff. They took some liberty in there perhaps
Maybe.
with making the doctor a little bit more
Yeah.
impactful than perhaps he was in real life
Yeah.
from what we
I can see
gathered,
that.
but, the story was awesome. The I think you can't have enough of that stuff. I was telling Megan, I think it's basically one of those deals where our younger generation still needs to know what happened, and it's in recent enough history that it's not like, "Well, this is how humans used to behave back in the the Dark Ages."
They
No,
still behave this way.
it's like within the last, like the last 100 years effectively that we 80 years that we were still able to do this as a human race. So, it's close enough to home that it's a story still worth telling, and they had a lot of raw footage that was intermixed in there, like the bulldozers and so forth with the concentration camps that was,
Mm.
like, heart-wrenching. Um,
Are you
so
an
told in the
emotional
Nora
movie
history.
watcher?
What's that?
Are you an emotional movie watcher?
I certainly can be,
I am.
where I'll get gutted on something like that.
Yeah, I absolutely am, and that movie got me. That real footage, and I've seen footage before, but how they were correlating it and stuff. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah,
man,
it was really, really well done.
it was
Oh, and my wife said she didn't like the doctor's character. What's that guy's that name? The main actor from that. Not Russell Crowe, but his alternate, like the co-star. He's
Key
he's in, like, the Hacking Show. He's in the
feel like
Queen.
his name starts with a K.
We should know this. I don't remember. At any rate, my wife didn't think he was that great of an actor, and I was like, "What do you mean? I think he's an excellent actor." And she said, "He only has, like, 1 or 2 facial expressions that kind of
That is true,
proliferate through the whole movie." And I said, "I'd still like him as an
and
actor."
some of his facial expressions were, I don't distracting, but Killian, isn't his name Killian
I'm
something?
I'm trying to look it up. I don't know.
Killian Killian something.
I should know this. Let's just go to the Wikipedia page, it'll show me. Rami Malek.
Oh, well,
Rami
I
Malek.
was not close at all. I thought I was onto something, and I was not. Okay, well, it's good to know.
Did you think he did a good job acting, or are you s
Yeah,
feeling the same way?
the facial expressions were just a little distracting for me, but I think he did a good job. So, I got no issues with him, really, with anything. Sorry, I'm messing with that's too white. Um, I got no issues with the movie.
I really like when movies or media or any kind of entertainment kinda mixes themes that make you think, and it was one of those movies that I thought about almost nonstop the next day, and that's kinda my judge of a good movie is if I think about it the next day or how much I think about it the next day,
Mhm.
how much it impacts my normal pattern, um, and that one did. And I think some of the reason it did is because it brings up a lot of, like, controversial questions.
Mhm.
The doctor makes an effort, and the plot of the movie makes an effort to say that, like, what made these Germans capable of that type of functionality?
I
Like,
turned my camera off, by the way,
sure.
so
What made these men be able to be monsters and do what they did? And the psychiatrist's conclusion after thousands of hours of study was nothing, really, that Europeans and Americans and Russians and anybody is capable of doing what those Germans
that they're
did.
just human beings.
Yeah, in the right scenario. There was nothing unique about them as a race, as a nationality of people that made them capable of that. They were downtrodden from World War One. They were looking for some redemption and some buyback, and and they focused on the Jews as kind of a common enemy. Like, Gorian says that at one point that he didn't really care whether the Jews lived or died. That wasn't his purpose, but they served a purpose of making the people unite on something. Um, so that was an interesting idea, and I'm not. That's not new to me. That idea is not new to me. That humans are capable of that. But there is just that gray area, like, they were talking about, well, what makes what they did any different from what other countries would do? We had internment camps for the Japanese here. Now, we weren't killing them, but we
God,
made
that
them
line.
have work camps. And,
We were the winning side.
they started out with work camps for the Jews and for the, gypsies and so forth, and it became more than that, but it was started as a work camp. Um, those are heavy questions. And like when they said that, how many people did you kill, when Gordon said, how many people did you kill when you, destroyed, Nagasaki and Hiroshima with atomic bombs? How are you any of higher moral standing than what we are with what you did there, killing civilians? Like those kind of questions, as he asked in trial and as he asked in his interviews, are legitimate questions to ponder. It's dark and it's interesting and it's thought provoking, and it's a really good movie. So I would recommend it as high as I can for a movie. I really liked it.
Just be prepared for dark and some deep looks into humanity. But I enjoyed it. What are we watching next?
I don't know. We'll watch the chat and see what people recommend. Did you watch anything else since we've met last?
Oh, have I? I don't think so. Been kind of a light movie watching lately. The storms that rolled through, I found out that my QSC QSys 110F died. So that's not good. I turned the system on yesterday for a demo for a rep.
Yeah.
And none of the subs on the Trinov worked.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So did some troubleshooting, and that QSys is, in fact, dead.
Not just the power supply for it, like the whole unit?
She dead because she turns on, but I can't see it on the network. So she's stuck somewhere. Something got fried. I think the main board got fried.
Does it have a hard reset button on or anything?
No. Already talked to support. It's dead. And an unfortunate thing about QSys that I did not know, which is pretty dumb. So their units are sold on an as-is basis, which means you shouldn't stock them. Well, this unit came from a stock. And evidently, their warranty starts when it is purchased from QSC.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So I missed my warranty by 4 months.
Wouldn't that be on your distributor's neck and not yours? Who you bought it from, if they didn't give you something with full warranty, it seems like they should cover you.
Yeah, it should be, but what?
Why don't you go back to your distributor and talk to them and say, like, hey,
I'm going to try to, but I had to buy another one in the meantime because I can't wait for them to repair this one and not have that operational. That's going to suck. So I bought another one off eBay. So those things are like $4,000 new.
There's a store, if it's still around, in Overland Park on like 95th Street called Audio Mart that is a engineer, like a EE shop that repairs electronics.
No, they're gone.
Oh, man. I was going to say Brian was great if he was still there.
Gone. And he had a backlog that was insane.
He did. It would take you months to get in, but he was good.
Well, unfortunately, that shop is no longer there.
Well, I watched quite a few movies since we've talked last. I'm going to run through them in brief. Magnificent Seven. It's an old 1950s, 1960s era movie. Have you seen that?
Did you watch the original? You didn't watch the remake?
The original one.
Okay.
That's the first time I'd seen it. I really liked it. I'd give it a B. I thought it was an enjoyable piece of cinema with some great acting for the time frame. Some definite like themes of that era that didn't make a whole lot of sense, like the gangsters or the outlaws, if you were let the good guys go, but let them keep their guns, and then the good guys just came back around and attacked them again with their weapons. Like that doesn't make any sense. That wouldn't be a modern theme. But in that old kind of like 1950s, 1960s style, where everyone had honor, even thieves. Like the thieves let them go with their guns.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of interesting. We watched Chronicle over at John's house for a movie night with his Valerian Max.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen Chronicle? It's about some kids that get a superhero power by visiting basically a rock that has unknown origin that pulses and gives them superpower. To
It
telekinesis.
sounds an awful lot like Super 8.
It is like Super 8 now that you say that, but there's no monster in it.
I mean, he wasn't. I guess he was a monster, but he wasn't really a monster. But I know what you mean. Okay, so that was good.
I like that one. I'd give
Okay.
that one a solid B. It's kind of like it seems like a low budget handy cam style like indie movie.
Mm-hmm.
It had maybe I think we looked it up like a $25 million budget, so it wasn't minuscule, but it had that style, and it's enjoyable. It's like got a good story, another moral, ethically gray type thing.
Okay.
Where you get these powers, and one of the guys basically decides he's going to use his power for bad, and the other guys are trying to stop him, and so the brothers effectively go to war with each other. Watched Gone Baby Gone. I don't even know if I'd heard that one, but I loved that one. Have you seen that one?
No.
It is basically kind of a crime drama, but it's touches on the same sort of topic we've been talking about, like these ethically gray areas. It's talking about a mom who's not fit to have a kid,
Mm-hmm.
who loses the kid and then is trying to get her back. And the cops basically are working out whether they want to skip kind of to the conclusion, whether they want to give the kid back or what's right or wrong moral in that area. But it's all got all kinds of twists and turns, and it's a really good movie, like excellent movie. If you haven't seen that one, give it a watch.
Okay, I'm just looking at some of these that you got. Chronicle. Huh. I'll get that one. It's $5.
It's fun.
Okay.
Gone Baby Gone, I'd
I
recommend
put,
higher.
I put Gone Baby Gone on my wish list.
Okay.
So.
Then I watched Usual Suspects with Tim over at his theater.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen Usual Suspects?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was decent. I would say it's kind of more of an average for my personality, for my preference, but also an interesting thing. It's about basically an organized crime type thing, where they're on the hook to do some jobs for a guy who has a lot of power and authority in the crime world. So he takes some known criminals with good skills to meet his need, and it has some twists and turns in it too.
Yep. Did you watch like the entire movie library? We don't usually watch this many.
No, I don't. But it's been 2 weeks, and I've been on a streak here, I guess. So watched through most of the fourth season of Invincible.
Mm-hmm.
There's one more episode left this season. I really enjoy that one. Worth watching. A few episodes here or there that are not great in the mix of things, but still an enjoyable series. And then we watched the first maybe hour or so of Birdman, and I haven't seen that one before either. That's a strange one. I'm still not even sure what I think about that one. Have you seen that one? Mid 2000 type range.
No.
Timeline.
No.
A guy who has superpowers, but he's trying to do. I'm not even sure I got the whole point of it because we quit early because it was getting late. But after we watched Usual Suspects, we went into this one at Tim's Theater. He has a superpower, but he's just trying to be like a live Broadway type play, and be a dramatic actor. And it's got Ed Norton in it, and it's got who's the guy that was the original Batman? Not the 1960s
Adam
one.
West?
No, Michael Keaton. So Ed Norton and Michael Keaton.
That is not the original Batman.
Well,
okay,
the 1980s one,
okay,
or whatever it was, 90s one.
It's original for Jonathan.
When I was a boy.
Who's the original Batman? So and so? No, 30 years later. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's been my little streak. Out of those, my favorite were Gone Baby Gone and Nuremberg. But multiple good ones in there.
Okay. Glad you had a bit of a journey there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have anything like that. Did I watch anything? Not recently. Listened to some music today and was sad that half my theater's not working. So that always bothers me.
You said just one set of amps is down because of the switcher, but the other side works?
No, so just the subs on the Trinov are down. So the subs still work. It's just the signal's not making it from the Trinov to the subs because they pass through the QSys
Sure.
110F.
But if you're using the Storm system, you have
No,
full
it's
system
fine.
capability.
No, it's fine. It still bothers me
Yeah.
because I know that half of it doesn't work, and it just when things don't work or know that I'm gonna have to do something in the future, it eats at me, and I don't like it. So yeah, the replacement will come in next week. We'll have to deal with that. But enough about movies. You wanted kind of on movies. You wanted to talk about streaming getting more expensive.
Yeah, I just seen a note on there. I guess Dolby had kinda started charging some things, and so the big streaming companies had started reflecting it. YouTube, in fact, went up. Their music service went up. Their premium light subscription, their family subscription, their regular subscription up a few dollars, 2 to $4, type range on the YouTube stuff. And then Amazon Prime went up $3 to $5 depending on your plan. And, Netflix had gone up last month for the same reason, like a few dollars here or there. So, I mean, I found a website that just lists the price increases for all these different services, and there's just been like they're just tail upon tail. They just keep increasing these services over time. And I think the curiosity here is on this particular case, I guess it becomes because the Kodak that they have some little legal obligation to provide Dolby with some sort of royalty or cut of it. And so that's why these things are raising it now, supposedly. But like, do they have runway, in your opinion, to still keep charging increases on these types of things? Or is there a point where you sort of cut off? And I'll use an example. Xbox Game Pass, if you're familiar with that, is a service that you could play games on day one launch. And they started opening that up for really inexpensive. Like it was a fantastic deal. I think at one point it was might even just $8 a month or something. It's all increased all the way up to $30. And that starts getting like where you raise an eyebrow. Like I was still paying for it, but I was thinking about canceling it. My kids use it a lot because they play some Xbox and so forth, and I don't have to buy games with it. Apparently enough people had quit that Microsoft had decided, all right, we're not going to do day one releases anymore on the games. We're going to hold them for a couple months, but we'll lower the price to try to get more people back to Game Pass. So I think they dropped it from like 30 for the Ultimate back down to like 23 and removed day one releases. So the answer to the question is obvious. Yes, there is a limit to how far people are willing to go. But are these little streaming services like Netflix that's getting close to $20 or Apple TV that's, $12 or $13 or
It wasn't long ago when Netflix was under $10.
Sure. But if you want all the services, it's not. And now with Amazon, I just heard today that they're hiding all their 4K Atmos stuff under an extra $4 or $5 charge. So if you want 4K and HDR and Atmos, you're going to pay another $4 or $5 on Amazon. They just secretly kind of remove it, so it'll play in 1080p.
It's crap.
I personally feel like there are limits to these things. Like when streaming first started, a lot of these services were $3, $4, $5, $7, $8. Especially the ones on the side like Paramount or
Now
some
we're
of
back to the point where
ones.
every single one on its own is the price of cable.
They're trying to go that way.
Basic cable, which is ridiculous.
Where you're starting to end up paying. I mean, I've been seeing that sentiment on the forums for years. It's like they grease the skids to butter us in, with the lower prices, and then just kind of raise the prices, and where people are paying more for all these services than they used to.
Ryan Kramer says Netflix is $27 for 4K HDR Atmos.
That's too much for me.
That's stupid.
Well, I didn't even know it'd gone that high. I don't have a Netflix subscription right now for that reason, because they priced me out. Like I was just using some other services that were cheaper. But like Disney Plus started really cheap, and now they're very expensive. All these services have just gone up and up and up, and there doesn't seem to be like a stopping point.
That's dumb. I'm actually going to have a conversation with my wife and just be like, this is kind of stupid how much we're spending on this. And I think if we take a lot of it away, it stops a lot of the doom scrolling and the wasting of time. Because some of the stuff you're just watching to be partially entertained, you're not really taking a lot of it in. It's just kind of there, which there's no intentionality, I think, behind a good portion of people's media consumption. And I've never thought about it that way, but that's part of why I appreciate physical media or something like Kaleidoscape in its own way is there's some intentionality behind if I'm gonna watch something, I'm gonna watch it. Like, I'm
Mhm,
invested in this. It's not, "Oh, let's just do this, then I'm gonna kinda mess on my phone and just have this on in the background." It's you're more engaged with the content, and I think streaming and the advent of phones in the way that they are has created this. I'm not as a lot of people aren't as engaged. They have a movie on and they're always on their phone, and it's just, "What are you doing? How can
mhm,
you be engaged with the story?" And my wife always says, "Well, I don't remember any of this stuff." Well, it's because 'cause you're not really paying attention to what's
mhm,
happening on screen. You're not allowing yourself to get immersed, and I don't watch maybe I'm the not the I'm probably not, I know I'm not the norm. I don't watch a lot of streamed content
mhm,
at all. I'll stream music, but most of my content, if it's not sports, is gonna be movies or TV shows that I've invested in through Kscape.
mhm.
So, yeah, I hadn't thought about the pricing for this streaming that's insane. Absolutely insane that those prices have gotten that high.
We have 51 people on chat watching us. I wonder, fellas, what is your limit? Like, what do you think your cutoff is when you're gonna turn a service off because they've jumped the shark? Are you at $10, $15, $20, or
For
is it like
service?
there's certain services that you have no limit, you're gonna keep paying for because you like them that much?
Well,
Curious
and
what the
I'd be
premium
curious to know how much people are paying for
as a
all the
whole.
streaming services as a whole consolidated together.
Oh, it really adds up.
I
Sometimes
think
it's
it's
shocking.
way more than we think it is, and I need to go through mine because it's, "Oh, yeah, we'll add this, and then we'll cancel it," and then it never gets canceled, and then it gets
Exactly.
forgotten about, and it's just, holy crap.
2 month free trial,
Yeah,
and then you're back into it again
yeah,
and just ignore it.
yeah. I think it's ugh. Okay, we got a super chat. If you guys have questions before I get into the super chat, it can be a question, anything related to AV home theater, drop it in a chat. We do first in, first out. I have been starring them as they come in. But if you've got a question, doesn't have to be related to the topic that we're talking about. This goes for any stream that we do, podcast that we do. Drop it in chat, and we will do our best to get you answered and on your way. But grand to Dan,
Thank you.
thanks for the $20, man. Never, I always screw up when I'm saying this. Never required, always appreciated. Um, Need a sub upgrade. Currently have one Klipsch RP 1200 SW. It's not a bad sub in a 12 by 18 room on an 8805, running a 914. Add a second RP 1200 SW or switch to a pair of SVS JBL GSG. Budget is 6,000. Which two subs setup best for next level? If you have a budget of 6,000, that is a lot more than a Klipsch RP
Then a
1200.
second one. Yep.
And I know Jonathan's gonna say this, more, more, more. So more than 2 subs, and you're gonna have a better experience, I would bet.
Sure.
And that 8805, well, the 8805, I think, only has 2 sub outs, doesn't it?
Yeah, but you could pair them up.
Yeah, if he
So
stacks them,
sure.
but or if they're
Equidistance, he
get
could front
away
and
with
back the room.
equidistant, you're not depending on where they are, your room modes can be a problem. Or you can spend, I think, with shipping, at least to me, it was $311 to get a mini DSP, 2X4 or whatever it's called.
Yeah,
Never remember.
absolutely worthwhile.
Absolutely, for sure. And play with that. It's going to teach you a lot while you're trying to understand how to go through it. If you were him, let's say you're going to start over. Crumple up the 1200 SW. It's not a bad sub. And you had, how much is it? Let's say the 1200 SW is, I don't know, $1,000. Say you get a $7,000 budget for subs in a 20 by 18 room.
Mhm.
What are you doing?
I'm probably of those that he listed, I'm going with GSG out of that list.
No, not that he's listed. I think what would you do? Unlisted or listed?
I I'm still gonna go with GSG if he's willing to do assemble yourself, because the value there is off the charts compared to the retail versions or internet direct versions. But you have to be willing to do it yourself, and you have to be able to finish it yourself,
Not
like
only that,
finishing options,
this is my
cosmetic.
problem that I think a lot of people don't think about when they do DIY subs. I love DIY subs if you're committed to it. because remember, it's not just about building it. A lot of subs, mainstream subs, have quite a bit of DSP built into the plate amp.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're doing it this way and you're building your own sub, you're not going to get that DSP. You have to create that DSP. And if you don't know what you're doing, which it can be a good opportunity to learn, but I'm simply saying, hey, there's other things you got to think about. That if you don't know what you're doing and you're not willing to put in the effort and learn, it may not be a great approach, because just giving that, in my opinion, to auto EQ, not a great approach.
Well, so I'll counter you a slight bit, but not entirely. GSG Audio does have guides for how to program the DSP in general to your room to get like a flat response for their builds. So you're not left completely in the dark. Plus, there's a lot of form information. But yes, you do have to do that. Like that's part of the process. So that part I'll agree with you on. Um, if you buy like 4 chassis from GSG Audio, maybe even just like Marty sub type things, and you throw in an 18-inch driver, they sell the drivers directly, and you buy a couple NX amps, you'll have a lot of output with just like 4 18s and 4 Marty subs and maybe a couple NX amps, and that would fit in your budget. And just really, frankly, destroy a combination for $6,000 from SVS or from JBL. You'd be getting effectively twice the output, if not more, because the cabinets are larger.
Mhm.
The trade-off is that you're going to have to cosmetically finish them. So if you want something fancy with wood veneer, either you're gonna have to take them to a cabinet shop at your own great expense, or you're gonna have to figure out how to do that yourself, or you're gonna paint them with some sort of rhino liner or black paint or something. Um, but as far as like bang for buck, that's a good way to go.
It is a lot more involvement. And I don't do those. Does the GSG DSP guides, do they include phase alignment and like FIR filters? And
It has PEQ that you need and HPF if it's necessary on like the ported things, how to program that in for specifically the NX series amp. Like that's what they
okay,
have that I've seen in the past.
all right,
So it's not going to be like catered to your room. It's going to be a generic set that
sure.
works in
But the
general.
DSP most all the time in a plate
Is
amp
what that is.
it's what that is. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's good.
And then they
Um,
have a support forum where you can go in there and ask questions, and get a lot of advice. ABS Forum has the do it yourself thing. Now, we've already talked about that. I think that's a fantastic option. That's what I recommend. If you're not doing that, Ryan, where would you go to next if you're
oh
not willing
man,
to do?
$7,000 if I were to do that. The 1200 SW is not a bad sub. That whole line is not bad. I
Mhm.
think if you get them at the right price point, it's a fantastic value proposition.
Could he just get 3 more of those instead of 2 of those and have
Absolutely.
4 of them around the room?
Absolutely. Now, are they the absolute best sub? No, but price per performance, they're fantastic.
Would you have him go up to the 1600 instead of the 1200 if he's gonna double or quadruple his
Mm,
output, his
I wouldn't mix a
setup?
1200 with a 1600. No, you're going to create all alignment issues with the port tune. Um, I guess it would depend on what he's chasing, how much output he wants, what he feels is lacking, what his placement options are. Because the 1600 is not, we've seen him, they've been at Edwave, is not a small sub,
Right?
right? It's a 16-inch driver, it's ported, the cabinet's quite large. Not that the 1200 is a small sub, they're big. People think 10-inch subs are big, and you go into a 16, 18, 21s, I mean, they get egregiously large. So with your setup, you've already got a 1200. If you're not going to sell it, I just do more 1200s, especially if you can get them cheap.
Yeah, and if you watch on slickdeals.net, you can get them cheap. They'll
You
come up from time
can.
to time
You can.
where it's like fell off the boat cheap somehow.
Now, what I would do, 2 subs that I would do. If you want to play the quality over quantity game and you're not willing to do it yourself, I would do either, to start, and you're going to go a little bit over your budget, I would do 2 JTR RS1s and then add more later, because now you're in game. You're not changing anything out later. Or I would do multiple Ascendo 16 subactives, depending on what you're chasing. If you're focused on the mid bass stuff, I'd probably do the 16s. If you're focused on low end extension, the JTRs they're gonna win. So that would probably be the direction I would go. I would not do SVS or JBL. Would you?
I think SVS makes a fine sub, but at this point, they're not the value leader that they used to be.
No.
I don't have a
They've
problem
gotten
with the
expensive.
subs. They have a lot of nice little features, whiz bang features like phone app control and stuff like that. Like they're nice,
But
but if
how
you're looking
often
for
are you
value,
gonna
it's not
do
there.
that?
Probably just the initial setup for the most
Yeah.
part.
And if you get a mini DSP, which I would encourage you to do,
Yeah.
you can do all of that through the mini DSP, and then you're never gonna touch it again.
As far as like JBL subs, the one he's mentioned there, JBL typically does like pro audio subs. They have a home theater line, but it's not necessarily high end, at least typically. Pro audio subs are going to cut off at like 35 hertz, maybe even higher, maybe 40 hertz with a port tune, and they're made for a huge output but not low frequency. And that's out of this group, that's the one you want the least, because for home theater you want to have that extra frequency extension more than you want the output. So it's not a good match. I can give you a real example of that. Back in 2012, we did a subwoofer shootout, and I bought a Yamaha Dual 18 Pro Audio setup, and it had super good reviews. And I just wanted to see how it compared to like an SVS PB12 that Chirpy had, and an HSU VTF 15H that Luke had, and stuff like that. Like mainstream, there was an Epic Empire there. Mainstream stuff that was in the home theater candidate versus this Dual 18 Pro Audio Superpower sub. And this was back in the day when 18s were rare. Like most people had 12 or 13s. From SVS's best at the time was 13. So you see a couple 18-inch drivers. The reviews on it were fantastic on Amazon. This is for pro audio stuff. It controlled my heartbeat in the gymnasium. Those type of comments. We get it in the home theater, and heck yeah, it went loud. It was capable of like 140 dB type levels, but had no extension. So all the like pant leg shape, the pant leg shake, the shirt shake, like the lung compression, all that kind of stuff was missing on it because it was port tuned to like 35, 40 hertz, and you're missing multiple octaves below that from cinema content. So it was like, even though that subwoofer was the loudest of the group by far, had the loudest capability, it was the least favored because it just didn't have that extension, and it was found lacking in comparison back and forth between much smaller subs that were capable of going deep.
So Ryan Kramer brings up an interesting point about this. He says the resell holds for SVS. Resell for DIY does not. And he's got a point. So if that's a factor, the resources you put into DIY, you ain't getting out. It's no warranty. It's probably not going to be finished the greatest because most people are going to use like Duratex or something. Nothing wrong with it, just how typically things go. And you are potentially going to get some resale value, and things will be desirable if you go something the route of like an SVS, a JTR, Ascendo, RTJ, Rhythmic, any of the HSU. I mean, any box store brand, they're going to be more desirable than DIY. That's an excellent point, Ryan. I hadn't thought about that. Good point.
Yeah, well, on that same point, because resale is often not great, you could go to ABS Forum on the classified and look and see what's available, and maybe find
play the other
else,
side of it,
because you can get a really good whopper deal on some of that stuff
and
too.
you may be able to, if you can't get a whole sub, you could maybe get some cabinets that are finished, that somebody took the driver out, and you can just buy the cabinet, save yourself some work, pop the driver in. All good points. Great points. Again, if you guys have questions, drop them into the chat. We get to them in the order they come in, first out. It does not need to be related to anything we're talking about, just AV and home theater in general. Do not come on here and ask me how to cook something or do something outrageous, because I don't know. My wife does all the cooking, and I'm banned from the kitchen for a reason. Okay, are you banned from the kitchen, Jonathan? Do you cook?
No,
Megan seems like she's
Megan's the cook. I'll make breakfast and stuff, but she's the better cook.
All right.
That Pennsylvania Dutch. cookability.
Miguel Munez, 1713. Bought a used Behringer NX 6000. Did the fan mod. A week later, amp is dead. This is bad. $350 to fix the Behringer. It ain't worth it.
No, because you could buy a new one for like $375, $380 if you wait till the 15% off coupon, and they're $450. So any holiday has 15% off. However, I'll counter you, Miguel, that I don't think you have to spend $350. I had an NX 6000 die that's the same amp as yours, just the previous generation. There was a guy on eBay that fixed it for $180, and it stayed fixed.
That's a crapshoot, though.
Electrovision was his name, I think. I'll try to find the seller and I'll put it in chat.
Yeah, that seller. But you were worried. You didn't know if you were going to get that back.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't. Who knows? But he had good feedback, and it worked out perfect, and he did a good job. So you roll the dice sometimes. Yeah. And that guy, like, he has at the time, now whether he's still around or not, I don't know. But at the time, he had multiple ads up for fixing Behringer amps, and he came through for me.
Good. I forgot about that. Glad that still worked. So Jonathan is in Kansas and Ryan is in Florida. Can you imagine if I was a Florida man? I feel like I can already be outrageous, but if you surrounded me by with a bunch of people from Florida, I don't know that I would be alive anymore.
Here, I'm going to share my screen and see if this guy's still around real quick. Let's do this. Tell me if you see my screen.
Yep.
So this is the one. It's been back in 2021. And the guy's name, can you see that? Let me make it larger. Electro Latin Vision. And view similar items. Let's see if he's still doing this kind of work. Is that a live one? Yeah, that's live. So here you go. 360 feedback, 100% positive, $150 to repair it. So don't pay $350. Go to this guy. He'll fix you up.
I might actually use him to see if he can repair my QSC that died.
Oh, I told you I'd put that in chat. Let me do that real quick. If it'll even work. I don't know if that'll work or not.
Viziano. I must upset some people. 9403. 7.5 feet from the slab to bottom of joist. Enough height to make home theater with tops, or just focus on bed layer. I mean, mine's 3 inches taller than that. So I think it's plenty of height for, Jonathan, tell me if you disagree, for one row. I don't think.
You're absolutely right. I agree with what you're saying. Go ahead.
I would do one row, not do multiple rows. And you need to either recess the speakers into the ceiling if you're doing a box speaker, or you need to do in ceilings, because you do not have the ceiling height in order to do
6
on ceilings or 6.
6
Jonathan and I have walked that walk as tall humans when I had speakers hanging from the ceiling. It is a bad idea, and it is a painful idea. It can work, but having them a little bit higher up is much more freeing. Your head will thank you. So recess them and or in ceilings. But yeah, you can absolutely do it at that ceiling height. Let's see. Got that. Paul Treviziano says, saw Project Hail Mary and ScreenX with D-Box. Never experienced either before. The side screens, I can take it or leave it. D-Box was fun. How do you feel when somebody tells you something they experienced? It was fun. That comes across to me, and nothing against you, Paul. That comes across to me as, yeah, I had fun. I don't want to do it again. I've experienced it. That's enough.
I would say in this context, he's saying he liked it because in the previous thing, the side screens, he's saying, it was okay. Mm-hmm. So he's making that pivot.
Yeah, but I feel like if somebody said, XY was fun, they could have said, oh, yeah, XYZ, I really liked that. I enjoyed that. Fun as an adult.
Like it's a novelty, it's a little kid thing type deal, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I did bumper carts. It was fun. I laughed. I don't wanna do it again. Like, I'm I'm not seeking that
Well,
out.
clarify if you think it was fun in the sense that you'd like
Am
it or that you just
am
thought
I
it
full of
was novel.
crap? Would you want that in your theater, or was it a fun experience?
So, we've had the Screen X experience. You and I think it was you came with us, right, to the F1
Yeah,
Screen X?
yeah,
And you thought it was kinda gimmicky too, if I recall correctly, right?
yeah. It could have been a lot cooler.
Mhm,
It You've done NVIDIA surround, you've done X
mhm,
Eyefinity, you've done all that stuff, so you and I are the same way. We've done surround gaming, we've done a lot
mhm.
with surround immersion, and it felt like, at least with F1, the content that is made for it, and we were spoiled, especially you, Jonathan, because you saw Top Gun with content that was dedicated to it.
Yes.
When it's done right, and this is like Atmos, when it's done right, when a mastering is done correctly, it is amazing. It is total immersion add. But when you don't create the content specifically for it, and F1, they kind of tried, but
Some of it looked like low budget 480i graphics.
yeah, it wasn't, it was fun. See, Paul, how this worked? It was fun. Okay.
Well, and
And
remember the lines, like, the demarcation zone between the screens didn't line up
yes.
exactly, and it was had the fisheye effect very strong, and the walls weren't necessarily, like, actually sloped, curved, it was more like bang, bang, like rectangular shaped more so not a perfect implementation, but I think there's promise there. I just think they would have to custom make a theater from the ground up to make it look right or perform right, and they
Mhm.
didn't do it. They retrofitted a theater, and that's not the right way to make that work.
Yeah.
Now, D-Box, what's your thought on D-Box while we're on this topic? Have you experienced it?
Yes. Thank you, Kevin. Ryan doesn't like fun as an adult. No, I sit here and brood all day. It is resting bitch face from sunup to sundown. That is my life. Okay. Just get with the program. Do I like D-Box? I like D-Box as a tactile transducer, and I like it on very, very low
Mhm,
because I feel like if you go too high, it is in the way of the
mhm.
content. I
Distracting
It
is
is distracting. When
mm,
Jonathan, you and I had a discussion about bass. Was it on stream or not? I don't think it was on stream. It wasn't on stream. It was in text. Where you want to notice cool bass. That was your opinion, and there's nothing wrong with this. But you also like to tinker.
mhm,
I will tinker to get a good setup, and then I'll leave it alone.
mhm,
Anything that distracts me from the experience that I'm having, I don't like it.
mhm.
It's fun. I love this. I love this. It's fun.
Oh, great.
And
The rest
thanks,
of the episode.
thanks, Paul. Uh, it's really good low, and I do the same thing with sim. Some people like it up really high, and it's too much. Your brain does not need a lot to be tricked,
Mhm,
especially when it's stationary. It does not need a lot. I've done flight sim stuff where all you have is a vest. We've talked about this on stream. All you have is a vest, and what it can do is it'll pull you so you feel back into the seat. So, like when a jet's accelerating, the G force of it pulling you, or a car's accelerating, pulling back into the seat. That's all that is needed, especially when you're wearing a VR headset, to trick you into thinking you're in motion. It does not take a huge amount. And so, for a lot of these films, they have it turned up really high for fun, and that's what it becomes. What do you think?
So, I don't have very much experience with it. I experienced it, I think, just one time in a theater watching the live version of The Jungle Book because that was what was showing when I was out of town on a trip that had D-Box.
Mhm.
Um, and on the seats, it was like a upscale premium theater. It might have been in Dallas if I remember right. Um, it had 5 settings on the D-Box. You could change, like, how intense it was, and I liked the bottom setting or the second to bottom setting, and the top one felt like a circus act, like, it
Oh,
made no sense to me at all. But so in to your point, in that movie, Mowgli's swinging through the trees, and it gives you this, like, little nice little gentle, like, kinda like a little this feel, or if
mhm.
he's shifting left or right, it gives you a little shift feel. The subtle version of that is so much more engaging or enjoyable than, like, the knock you over to the side version at
Yeah.
level 5.
The thing that I don't really like about D-Box, outside of it just being used as a tactile transducer, is I'm not watching a movie to move with it. I don't wanna be on a ride,
Mhm.
right? I want the tactile transducer, I'm getting the sound. It's my brain does not work where I'm watching somebody else in a car, so I need to be moving like I'm in a car. No.
Mhm.
I'm watching them in a car. That's not how my brain is viewing this situation. So if you put me in a car, not what I'm wanting to do. And this is the pictures. Did you see the pictures of um John's son Vonley and the subwoofers he's
Yeah,
putting
yeah.
in?
Or
Oh my god. I'm worried for that guy's safety.
Yeah, that's wild.
Oh
He's, like,
man.
gonna
Showing
leave
the
that thread
voice
soon.
coils, the motors and stuff on those subwoofers. We're used to these $30 Best Buy 12-inch budget things, and he's got things that flip it over. These things are hard to move. Good
The
lord.
magnet's as big as the driver
Oh
cone.
my
Yeah.
gosh. I'm concerned.
Well,
John.
I mean, it all needs to be said too that this is all subjective preference, and I know there's people that
Mhm.
really, really love D-Box, and,
That's a good point.
hats off to them if they enjoy it, let them enjoy
Yes.
it.
It is oh so subjective. There is nothing wrong. I am hats off to you if you enjoy this. There's nothing wrong with you enjoying that. I am not saying that it is wrong at all. I am saying I don't enjoy it. That doesn't I am not the all-speaking power, the overlord of everything home theater. That is not me. Far from it. That's Jonathan. So you need to do, and we talk about this a lot, you create the experience that is indicative of you. That is you. Do not do what somebody else tells you to do. You can try it. But at the end of the day, if you enjoy it, do it. All the power to you. Have at it. Unless Jonathan tells you it's wrong, then you're wrong. Okay.
I'm starting some of them that are gonna go back in the conversation a little bit. We can just hit them fast when they come up, because I think they're worth, like, just a quick mention as I'll
That's
go
fine.
through here.
That's fine. Okay. I like the new feature where it grays it out after you've selected it. Did you
Oh,
notice that?
no, I haven't seen that.
Oh, maybe it's
I'm
just
not
me.
in the pin section.
Oh.
I'm in that main section.
eDogger 51 AVS. Sorry for one more for Ryan. You never need to apologize. Questions are great. That's why I think this stream and the podcast works so well. Is we enjoy Jonathan and I really do enjoy talking about your guys' questions. We like talking about this stuff.
Sure.
We're huge nerds. So you're giving us ammunition to talk about and make fun of each other. When will we be able to talk about RTJ's new 24-inch Tower of Power? These are the LCRs Scott Newby will be running. Thanks. I did not know he was. Is it the same midsection as what was on the 18s? Have you heard about this?
So I've seen him getting a stack of 24-inch subs. I
Yeah,
guess
I've
I
seen
didn't
that.
know that the main huge drivers, like the main speakers, have 24s too now. I didn't know that either.
Well, I mean, it stands to reason that they're in the fronts. I'm curious to know if it's the same as what the 410s were.
That would kinda surprise me, and maybe it's the case. I mean, we could probably look it up. Let's just go to RTJ.
I did. There's nothing there. I
Well,
already did.
the reason I say it kinda surprising is 'cause we know about beaming, and beaming becomes more of a problem the larger the driver diameter.
Yes.
If you got a 24-inch woofer that you're expecting to play up to, like, I mean, you're gonna be dropping it probably in this case, maybe 500 hertz. That's gonna have some beam to it.
Is that where the 10? I don't think that's where the 10s roll off. Do they?
So,
No.
I mean, I'm just guessing. I don't know where he's got the 10s crossover at. Like, on his RT towers, I think that the horn loaded midwave is like 500, 600, 700 type range that it crosses over, if I remember right.
Yeah.
You think the 10s are dropping maybe from there to like 300 or 200 or something? I mean, I don't even
Uh,
know. Does he have it all spelled out on the
yeah, he
old?
does. So the
Okay.
the frequency range on the RTJ 410, so this is without subs, is 60 to 24. Okay. So it seems the 10s can play. I would assume the 10s can at least play.
Wait a second. Can you share it? Or you got it pulled up?
You don't know what we're talking about? You, Jonathan, you
Share it.
dork.
I'm not sure I understood what you said. Okay, here you go.
This speaker
Yeah.
and putting this with 24s on top and bottom.
Okay, so what is it? Read off the frequency response again.
60 to 24K.
Okay.
So he shouldn't have a problem.
So then, yeah, he's just using the 24s as strictly
Yeah.
as subwoofers. Okay.
Yeah. It should be fine. I don't see an issue. But my curiosity would be, did he build custom boxes? Because the 24s are going to be bigger than the
Sure.
18s.
It's gonna be like an old 1960s supermodel where they have the real thin waist.
It's going to be something, is what it's going to be. I did not know that they were doing this. Now, it could be just the 410s. I don't know.
Maybe he's increasing the size of the 10s to 12s or something as a new model. I haven't followed it. That's just guessing on my part.
Another question from Dogger. Are you coming out to the Epson factory tour next month? No.
You signed up for it. Did you
I
not get
did,
selected?
and I was going to, and then I have family stuff. And frankly, I didn't want to take one of those spots away from somebody else. I mean, I know those guys. I've hung out with, I helped set up some of their rooms. I've hung out with Rob and Jason and Melvin and stuff. I know you guys will have a good time. And I didn't want to take up one of the spots for people. And I had family stuff that I had to commit to. So, was invited, and then didn't end up going, or won't be going. Be fun. I was looking forward to that. CDig 567. Are K-Scape video and audio improvements added audio track PCM stereo 4K HDR10 and added extras worth updating? Also, will it take up much space? I think it's worth updating. As an example, Fury last year was, I think, 5.1 or 7.1. They released an audio update. It's now Atmos. So I didn't have to pay for that. It was free. Sometimes you're going to get little things where they maybe fix something in content. There's been stuff with Jonathan's favorite movie, Pacific Rim, where there was video and audio artifacts that were happening, and they've released updates in order to fix those things as people were complaining about them. So it is important to update. I would update, honestly. I've never had an experience where it's been worse updating. I've liked it. So I would update. I don't think it takes up much room. Ryan B6763. What frequency response range do speakers need to be effective with art, since it only targets 20 to 150 hertz? Got an opinion, Jonathan?
Well, he's just saying you need full range speakers in all the surround positions, right?
That would be ideal. Yeah. You don't want the speaker playing full range, but you want it to be able to support full range. The best way I heard it put was a speaker's location is typically not the best location for a subwoofer. So having the speaker be able to be full range for art is beneficial, but it does not mean you should actually let the speaker play when it's playing back content full range. Does that make sense?
Not really.
Okay, let me try it again.
I understand what you said. I just don't know that I agree. That seems like a marketing spiel to me.
What do you mean?
I don't have a whole lot of experience with a surround field that's got full size surrounds with full capability. Like, that's a rarity in the hobby. It just is. I've heard it at shows. I don't think I've ever been in a single room that does it, where every speaker is truly meant to be a full range speaker. Like at Expona, there were 215 RTs that there were 7 of them, and a bed layer of 7 fully capable down to like 15 hertz or whatever they are, towers. It was remarkable. It was remarkable in a lot of ways. They played music clips that were like Dolby Digital with sound that was coming from different places, like a big Tiffany drum or a big bass drum or something coming from a side speaker that could do it, that could produce it. It was enjoyable. How much difference it makes compared to like actually just having subs in there and integrated below, like 80 hertz where you can't really tell the bass is very directional, probably pretty minimal difference.
Yeah,
but if I had full range speakers, I'd probably run them full range.
So if you're running them full range, though, you're not going to get support for other speakers. The subs aren't supporting each other at that point. That's the problem. You're not getting the fixes from those subs, from running multiple subs.
Sure.
You're just getting it from that location. So you're running into all kinds of modal issues when you're trying to do that. Yes, in big rooms, I
Right.
think that can be great.
And that's where that was. That exponent
Yes,
room was huge.
I will get behind that. In small rooms that are modal disasters, not a great idea.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
We agree with that?
Sure.
You brought up a good point, and I will change how I worded that. Big rooms, Jonathan's right. Small rooms, probably not a great idea to do.
Sure,
Because
that's
small
fair.
rooms, modally, especially with subs, have a lot more issues than big rooms do, and you need the support from others subwoofers in order to make that happen, and just playing one from one speaker is not gonna be nearly as good of an experience.
Mhm.
But to what you're saying, Ryan, full range for support, because it's gonna be supporting the other speakers, that is beneficial. All right, Jonathan, this question for you. Did you order the Noir?
So I think there was 2 questions on this. We'll kinda cover them both. I did. I'm participating in the pre-order. I'm kind of excited about it, actually. A couple
There's
people
2
that
of them,
I
right?
that what's that?
This is the other one, and NR Crash, it's the same, it's just asking if you did the Kickstarter.
Sure. I think the value is really gonna be there, fellas. So if you're on the fence, it it might be something where you just go ahead and proceed on several counts. A, because the Kickstarter price is $3,000, I don't think you're really gonna lose money. So if you're willing to, like, try it out, know that it could be a diamond in the rough. I'm not saying it's perfect. Nobody's saying it's perfect, but it could be a diamond in the rough where they may fix some things that are a little bit off right now over the course of time with firmware. They may not. I don't think there's very much risk as far as getting it and just reselling it. So the performance from people I trust, Pixel Pusher 15 for one, he just got a unit in the last few days, and we were talking for a half hour about it last night. Like, he's really genuinely excited about it. His daughter came in, she's 12 years old, and they were watching Inside Out, a clip from that, and she said, like, it was amazing that she wanted to watch the whole movie on it, asked her dad to watch it. She said she'd not even seen the picture presented like that, and Andy agreed. He hadn't seen that presented that way. It has a really high color gamut. It has 4 to 5,000 lumens, which is double what a traditional, like, JVC would have at a higher price point, and it has good black levels. Where it's not gonna be perfect is the anti-RBE is not perfect right now. They're working on the patch. It's supposed to be a patch this weekend to fix. Hopefully, that will take some advantage of it. There's not a true native 24K, I'm sorry, 24 frames per second, like a native refresh of 24 frames per second, but they have a frame manipulation engine that works really well, and having seen the Titan, I wouldn't worry about that particular aspect myself. Um, they have some pulsing and so forth because they're using dynamic trickery to get the really deep black floor, but it has genuinely a really deep black floor. So you might expect the odd artifact here or there that, like, you wouldn't necessarily expect on a JVC, a high-end JVC or something on really dark, deep scenes, but they're minimal, and all the reports are saying that they're probably you can look past them, especially for the price point. So here's my thought. If you have 3,000 laying around that you can float for a little while, and even if you have a nice projector now, if you would like, say you have an LS 12,000 or you have a 5050 or you have a JVC NX7 or something like that, maybe a generation or 2 old. If you have a projector like that, you could probably buy this with little to no risk. Buy it for 3,000, use it for a month or 2. If you don't like it or you don't think it's enough of an upgrade, then you just sell it for probably 3,000. You might lose $100 or $200. You might gain $100 or $200. It's gonna be basically a wash. I think that the projector will probably sell for $4,000 to $5,000 after the Kickstarter. Sort of using the Valerian as an example. The Valerian Max was $2,200, $2,200 in the Kickstarter. Afterwards, it's been 4,000, and it still stayed 4,000. So I feel like there's low risk, and if you like to tinker, it's probably going to be a good projector. Um,
I don't like to tinker.
I like to tinker, so I'm
I
looking
know
forward
you
to
do.
tinkering.
Can you ceiling mount this projector?
You can, and they're charging too much for the mount. The mount is it's a proprietary mount, so you don't get to use anything you want. It's $400 normally. If you buy it during the Kickstarter, it's $200. So you're probably going to want to buy that at the same time. So you're looking at $3,200 if you didn't sign the early bird thing that gave you an extra $250 off. It's going to be 3,000 plus amount is 200, or you can just set it on the shelf if you want. It has a legitimate lens focus. It has memory, so you can do a a constant image height type screen or a CinemaScope screen. It has a really nice lens, really nice sharpness. The black levels, Pixel Pusher says, are knocking door on JVC. And unlike the Valerian, there's not the issues with like clipping and so forth. And some of the issues that Valerian Max has struggled with, this seems to have resolved. So by all accounts, it's a pretty interesting Kickstarter.
Okay.
It ships in June. So there's already like 2,500 backers right now, basically. Zemi said XGMI, XGMI. Wait, am I saying it right?
Big Jimmy?
XGMI. XGIMI is how you spell it. They say that they have enough to cover all the people who have ordered right now with backers. But if there's a lot more that sign up, that there might have to be like second waves, or they don't have unlimited supplies to just ship out on the initial June ship date. But you can buy it now. It won't charge you until June when it ships, and you can cancel your order with no penalty until like June 9th, I think it is. Don't quote me on that, but it's somewhere around June 9th. So there's no risk to get it on the Kickstarter and get in there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a neat, fun thing to tinker with.
Okay. Awesome. E4 Superfly, Ryan, been loving the videos with you and Mr. Goff. Thank you very much. It's been good to really get to know Ben. He's a great resource. He's a big pusher on the recommended practices, and they've been a lot of fun. I've liked doing those with him on Monday mornings. So thanks. I'll relay that to him. I mean, he may watch this, but I don't think he has time to watch this. He's a busy man. All right, we did this. Dust Bunny. Have you seen it yet? I have not. I want to watch it.
I've never even heard of that one. Do you know what it's about?
No. I actually own it. I'm bad. I will watch it. It's supposed to be good. I don't know what it is. Jonathan's gonna go get it and be like,
I'm web searching right now. 2025 American fantasy film. About what?
That's it.
Stars Mads Mikkelsen. Follows a hitman who is approached by an 8-year-old girl to kill the monster under her beds that she claims ate her family. Okay, interesting.
Okay, so this is an interesting point, and this is a good point made by Ryan Kramer. Worth pointing out, I think the reason why the color looks so good for people isn't the large color gamut. It's the increased brightness that helps the color present better. Absolutely. The content that people are watching is not really going to take advantage of that color gamut at all. It's the brightness. For sure.
Yes, and like the JVC NZ500 has a shortage on the red color. So Andy said, and I can totally perceive this because I noticed the same thing coming from my Epson LS12000 to the JVC NZ500. The NZ500 looks a little bit orange compared to red. Like it can't do red.
Mm-hmm.
When you get one of these RGB Chinese lasers, or not even Chinese, just RGB DLP type lasers, red, green, blue lasers, and you have that red capability at full red, you can notice that without escaping into and beyond the BT 2020 color scale. Like,
that's fair.
Because a color can be more rich within the P3
yes,
or Rec 709.
But I think a lot of that's going to come from luminance.
Sure.
Not saying that one is, but a big part of, remember that what people see as the color triangle, it's three-dimensional. You don't see the depth part, which is luminance. You need light to be able to get to these certain colors. And if you don't, it ain't going to happen. That's why tone mapping is needed. So, yeah, I think brightness people are realizing is important.
It is.
Especially for HDR. It is. I had a rep over yesterday. He did not realize that he was watching 300 nit content because he assumed that it was going to be brighter. And it is bright, but it doesn't hurt your eyes. It's not like some magic thing that's going to be awful. It's enjoyable. I can't go back. Cannot go back. Good statements all around. Ever see The Lost Bus or Wake Up Dead Man? You think Wake Up Dead Man is going to turn into a religion bashing flick, but it ends up being honestly a little bit meaningful.
I never heard of either of those.
Never heard of either of those. I'm sure I'll watch them at some point. Stephen McGully, I bet Alpha Tech in St. Louis could fix it. This is going back to the amp that was looking for repair. That's a good call out. So evidently, if you need something repaired and you're in the St. Louis area, Alpha Tech is somebody that you should reach out to. Superfly says, Jonathan, what do you think of PV amps for subwoofers?
I don't know that I have a general awareness of how they do. There was a PV IPR series, I think, that was popular for a while, but I think people said don't necessarily use it if you're trying to do sealed subwoofers below 20 hertz. I think they suffer from the same thing where if there's like a DSP involved, it has like a undefeatable roll off below 20 hertz. But you're going to want to do your homework on your individual amp within the PV lineup to see. Most of your Class D digital pro audio amps have that undefeatable roll off, especially in the commercial side of things, because they don't want that content there. It actually just wastes power, and it can blow up drivers and stuff if someone drops a microphone, because it makes that pop sound that makes the drivers go crazy. So they just don't even want it. So they're not trying to create for it. Does that apply to all PV amps? I don't know. Old iron amps are typically more reliable at not doing that. Class D, they just kind of, with the DSP in there, they just kind of program that out, and you can't program it back in. So by default, my response would be, if you're doing sealed subs, you might at least really closely evaluate, try to look for bench tests on it, see what the frequency response is, see if there's a high pass filter installed on the PV amp you're interested in. They're good amps otherwise, like their name recognition. PV is a good brand within the industry as far as commercial pro audio amps. It has a good reputation. It'd be a better reputation. Like if there's a tiering system, and I think Behringer works fine, but Behringer is on the low end of like a quality tiering system, and they work fine for home use. PV would be a step above Behringer as far as like a kind of a quality tiering.
Okay.
Generally speaking, like as far as reliability, or if you went to a pro audio person, what they would say, like, here, that amp's good or that amp's not, that type of thing. Not necessarily frequency response. That's going to be amp specific, unit model specific.
Macro proxy. I mean, I have all of them, and some of them a few times over somehow. I think I have 3 HBO subs. Why?
So he's talking. This one made me laugh. He's talking back when we were talking about streaming services and how they creep up on you. Yeah, he's like, I got them all, and somehow I have three home box office subscriptions. I mean, yeah, I can't say that we haven't done that same thing. Megan and I sometimes will alternate back and forth to take advantage of like the new customer things. And sometimes that we've caught that overlapping before, like where we both have a single service and we're like, why? What are we doing? Why are we paying for it twice? Because we were trying to get 2 months free or something. You know, that kind of thing can happen.
I'm sorry, Macro. I'm sure I'm going to look at mine and I'm going to have a bunch of them. Superfly Jonathan, I was told if I'm going to use pro audio amps, I'm going to need an Artbox Cleanbox Pro. Is that true? No.
You don't need that. You might need that. And the reason that probably came to mind is some of the older receivers put out low voltage on the pre-outs from RCA. RCA can put as low as like old Yamaha or something might put out something as low as like 0.7 volts on the RCA output. And a traditional pro audio amp wants more voltage coming into it than that in order to get full output, full power output. Maybe it only needs 1.25, or maybe it needs 2 volts. If you have a mismatch like that, then you can't get full power out of your amplifier if your voltage is too low. But that being said, that problem has not been around for quite a while, maybe a decade. Most modern systems put out a couple volts, even 4 volt out of the RCA outputs. Like a Denon, a modern Denon will put up to 4 volts out of the RCA outputs. So you're not going to be needing a clean box. So really it comes down to how old your receiver is and what the voltage output is and what the input voltage is on your amplifier. So you'll have to look up both those characteristics and see how they match. The Art Clean Box, all it does is effectively bolster the voltage that's coming into it output. So if you're putting 0.7 in, maybe it puts 2 volt out or that type of thing. It just amplifies the voltage so that you can take full advantage of your amp's input voltage requirement.
Not that bright. Do mini Martys by GSG make any port noise? I think all subs will port chuff at some frequency.
When you start to overdrive them, yes.
Yep, they all will. Some are better than others, depending on the port design. But yeah, it will eventually.
You're if you're not taking it to the absolute red line limits, you're not
Yeah,
going to
no.
have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Or trying to play it below port tune. That's the biggest time you'll have a problem. If you don't have a high pass filter engaged, you'll get a lot of noise if you're trying to play like a 10 hertz tone out of it or something.
Mike Stevens, 2397. I've normally just left my services running, but I'm probably over $150 a month at this point for Netflix Prime, which is included in my Amazon membership, HBO, Disney, AMC, Paramount, and some more.
Yeah, I mean, nobody intends that to happen. When we first signed up for these services, we thought we were getting a deal, and it just scope creep.
It's dumb. SR Tempest says 25 a month is my limit, and I'd say 150 across services. That's a lot. We're right back to paying for cable.
Yes.
And it's less convenient because now I have to go to each different service to find what I want. It's dumb. And the other part it's getting worse, commercials.
Yeah, they're adding ads on a lot of these services that you're paying for. Yeah.
Why? We're right back to where we were. Now we're going to be saying, hey, let's go back to cable. Superfly, Jonathan, have you heard the HST-18? What do you think of it? Stereo integrity.
Have I heard I've heard the HT-18s in a lot of rooms. Have I heard the HST-18? I'm not so sure. I am not one, Superfly. I think we've talked about this on streams before. If you have a competent driver, and I think that can start with do-it-yourself at about the 300 range, maybe even the 200 range if we're talking about HT-18s. At a certain point, they're not a competent driver. If you have a competent driver and you play it within its means and you don't overdrive it into distortion or into excursion levels that it can't handle, where you start getting high distortion through power or through too much airspace, like the different metrics that keep the driver under control. If you're playing low volume output or you do multiples, I don't think that human ears can hear that much difference, if any difference, between like a mid-range competent driver and a super high-end driver. Where you can hear the difference is if you're overdriving these drivers to where the distortion levels start creeping up high, and your expensive driver in a better sized cab with better EQ and stuff isn't doing all the distortion. You do hear distortion, but if you're instead of just having one and playing the snot out of it, if you have four of them and your driver's barely moving, you're probably not going to hear the difference. And what's more, you'll get the benefit of having additional driver cones and the uniformity and the frequency response smoothing that happens with having multiple drivers. So the HST-18 is a very competent driver. You can go to, I think Database has measured that one, and you can get a reading on that there. Probably Audioholics might have at some point, or some sort of other site will have tested it. It's a competent driver. You'll be fine with that.
All right, one more question from Macro. I had to disconnect my rack to move for new carpet this week. Afterward, HDMI handshakes are much faster, and it seems like contrast for images is a lot better. Think it's the carpet is slightly darker. It's ALR screen, and didn't think carpet would affect it much.
What? What?
Okay, so the HDMI handshakes could very well be because you reseated something and it wasn't connected very well. So that's possible. The contrast, I feel like that could be a couple different things. It could be room reflections, right? Maybe there was something putting in a ton of reflected light. The other thing it could be is you had a setting mismatch where maybe your levels were wrong.
Well, for contrast, if he went to a dark carpet from a light carpet, that makes sense, but nothing to do with HDMI. Well,
no, I'm talking
if
about
the EDID mismatched or something, maybe.
Yes, which is what. So that could be it. You could have a levels mismatch. I was talking specifically about the handshakes, but sometimes replugging things can do things. Levels mismatches will absolutely cause a raise in black floor, though, or crush your blacks, depending on which way you go.
Macro proxy. When I was
interesting one.
Because I was thinking like this has got to be like a joke. He replaced the carpet and now it's
I should put that on ABS forums. Be like, yeah, I replaced my carpet and it fixed my HDMI issues.
Now Buy this carpet
That's what I need
now
to
with
do.
100% faster
In tech
HDMI
support,
handshakes.
when I'm on Mad VR tech support with one of the dealers, just be like, "Have you thought about changing your carpet?"
That's
That needs
really
to be a
funny.
shirt.
That's really funny.
Have you changed your carpet? Not have you restarted. Have you changed your carpet?
Yeah. All right. Well, I know where you're coming from, and it's not that you're out in left field when we get down to brass tacks, but at first read, it is kind of a funny concept.
It is funny, but I think you hit it, Macro, that reseating and room reflections. Bigger deal than people think. Especially on brighter displays, because they get worse. All right, I'm going to self-promote here because somebody was saying something. Superfly says, I've heard of youth man deals, but I'm starting to think Ryan deals are a thing. I've heard so many people Ryan helped get a good deal. It's all about just helping people, making sure they get what they want,
There you are.
what they need. I'm a bad influence on my own wallet too, so at least I walk the walk. Enough about that. Anything in closing? Been on for about an hour and a half. It's been a fun stream.
I still want to get through these comments. I'm
at the bottom.
I gave you another one. I'm still reading through the live ones.
Put it up.
I did. I commented it.
Oh, click it.
Okay, there you go.
I've heard the image is sharper than JVC, even though JVC is native 4K. So he's probably talking about the Noir.
Exactly. So I just think it's interesting to talk about this just in general. Like scrap the Valerian Max versus Titan Max versus whatever. Just talk about 1080p versus native 4K and what eShift does and how and then we can even go into how it's possible that a 1080p image might be sharper than native 4K. Both LCD and LCOS technology, like what Epson and Sony and JVC use, have 3 panels that it has to push the light through, and those panels have to be aligned. There's actually a mechanism to do what's called pixel alignment, where you can move the red panel versus the green panel versus the blue panel and make sure they're aligned. But because they can't be perfectly aligned in reflection to like your screen's movement, that pixel grid or that panel alignment will change based on where your screen is displayed out of the lens. Because it can't be perfect, you get a little bit of a haze on an individual pixel row. DLP doesn't have that. So DLP, in regards to the Valerian or the Titan, the way it does it is not going through 3 different panels, and your perfect fine line can be very, very, very clear. It doesn't necessarily have the fuzz. However, they are a 1080p grid, and so you'll get a screen door effect. You'll get a more of a visible pixel grid as you get closer to the image versus kind of a softer image that would come from something that's going through 3 different panels. I think that I don't necessarily agree with that statement that you could say it's sharper because there's too many variables there. You can turn up sharpening algorithms on any of these things. You can apply a Mad VR. You can do like all kinds of things to change the sharpen. I probably would say at the end of the day, 1080p 4K upshift is really, really, really good and a close approximation for just general use case. But if you had your preference, wouldn't you probably still rather have a 4K chip, Ryan, and be able to manipulate that than a 1080p upshift? Like if all else was equal, you can get probably generally more detail out of a true 4K panel, even though it's really close. And all that to say, like, if you have a list of bulleted characteristics, like most important to least important, the resolution is one of the least important things to me, between like contrast level, between luminance, between like laser dimming, between all these other things that a projector has characteristics about. The native resolution is probably like at the bottom of that list.
It is. It matters more when you sit closer to the screen, but most people aren't going to sit close enough that it's really going to matter at all. 1080p screen door effect makes sense. The pixels are larger. There's some artificial sharpening that happens on those E-shifted panels. It's just nature of the beast. There's nothing wrong with it. A lot of times it's very difficult to tell unless you're putting up test patterns or getting up in pixel peeping or know what to look for. So if it works, I wouldn't think too much about it. I don't think you're missing anything as long as you sit back far enough. I wouldn't have a problem with a 1080p display as long as I sat back far enough.
Right.
Wouldn't be able to tell.
Right.
Is Croson as good as a Boss platform?
Different.
Pretty good, but it's different. I don't like Boss.
Do you like Croson?
Yes.
Talk.
If I wanted
Tell us more.
tactile, that's all I'm going to say. Yes. That's all my answer is. Yes. I think behind Croson, behind D-Box. Well, no. Direct attach drivers, open baffle, then D-Box, then Croson is how I would rank them. And then butt kicker. Thoughts?
I think Boss is not my first preference.
I don't like Boss.
It's a little bit mushy to me, a little bit bouncy to me. I'm not a big fan of that. People love it, fine.
Feels inauthentic to me.
Croson is a far distant behind to me near field subs. Like when I've been around Crousons in a few different rooms, I've a lot of times they have near field on, and the near field drowns out the Crowson, where the Crouson's not even imperative. If you cannot have near field, if you don't have room for it behind your seats, I think Crouson's a great option. It's very natural feeling, or can be if you dial it in right. But I think a near field beats a Crowson to the point where Crowson becomes like an also ran. So that's what I would say there.
Okay. Crowsons are good. Just different strokes for different folks. Now we're at the end, unless you're going to say
I'm real close to finishing all the comments here. Did you watch Hail Mary, by the way?
No.
Just an aside?
No.
I'm looking forward to that one. I've heard a lot of good things.
I've heard good things, but I'm going to wait for it to hit Kscape. It'll be fun.
So this question is addressed to me. Superfly's got a lot of questions tonight. That's good. What do you use your home theater PC for? I have Plex capability on it. I have JRiver on it. I have Mad VR on it. I use it for some gaming on occasion with the projector. For the most part, my gaming, though, is just on this OLED that I'm watching here in front of me. So it has capability. I do end up, I see Kevin answered below. I do use Apple TV probably more than the home theater PC in general. Okay, getting close here. Ryan Kramer says, Chirpy says, brightness, contrast, color are all more important, and that the Imaging Science Foundation has resolution listed in 4th place of those attributes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, Michael Stevens gets it.
That's all right, I bumped you. Go ahead.
I tried the rug swap, but it wasn't until I bought some green wall-to-wall shag out of a 1980s Ramada Inn that was being torn down that all of my HDI and my handshakes issues were fixed or resolved. It does really come down to the shag of the carpet. The length of the shag, the quality of the pile, the feel of the pad underneath really is going to affect that HDMI handshake. Nobody's ever thought about this. We are on the precipice of something incredible in this industry. It's all about the carpet.
I missed Macropoxy's comment that he's got there at the top of the screen.
No. He did what?
How did I miss it? I thought I read everything. All right, so here's the actual original comment. I scrolled back up.
Macropoxy saying, my wife and I went to D-Box one time. Only experience. Movie was Bullet Train or whatever it was. My wife gave birth to my second kid the morning after. Maybe that's why daughter is so difficult. Yeah, you should send a letter to D-Box and blame them.
Shaken baby syndrome.
It's probably because there wasn't any carpet.
That's funny.
If there was carpet or at least a rug, you wouldn't be having these issues. But man, what an experience. Should have named your kid D-Box or D.
Yeah. So King Titus has a point that's valid here. He says, I think the issues in the mushiness with a Boss platform can be fixed if you don't use rubber feet. Wood feet stop the extra movement. I know people have used those Hudson Hi-Fi feet as kind of a buffer to kind of dampen, if you will, the inner tubes movement. Wood feet could do basically the same thing potentially, as long as it's carpet not clapping on concrete floors.
I would rather just have a direct attach sub to the chair.
I would too at the end of the day. I don't think this kind of movement is very natural, and that's what those do, right? Up and down. It doesn't necessarily jive in my mind with all things. So either it has to be turned down real to the low point to be subtle to work for me, or just I'd prefer having direct attach or near field.
Wouldn't that be something if one day we found out that Sheldon had a Boss platform in his car? We look over, Sheldon's listening to music on his way to his work, and he's just sitting there like this in his car.
When you were saying earlier that you didn't have to be moved like the on-screen action to enjoy it or feel like it was realistic, I was thinking about that Baby Driver movie and all that fast driving. If you were watching that in the backseat of the car and your screen was there and the car was moving, would it make it more impactful or more distracting? Like if you were actually in the stunt car as you were watching that film.
Or if it was like one of those spinning cup rides, the teacup rides, you're spinning in circles as everybody
watching the interstellar docking sequence in one of the teacup rides. Yeah. I don't got anything else, man.
I got nothing else. Good stream. For those that don't know, I asked Jonathan this afternoon if he wanted to stream tonight. He said yes, as emphatically as it can be put through a text message. But it was a good stream. Single word, yes. So I didn't even know if he was going to show up. And then I'm walking away and I hear a boop as he connects to the stream. So after I text him, frankly, he probably forgot.
You texted me? I didn't even get a text.
I text you.
All I got was the weather alert text.
We streaming?
Oh, I see it now.
He's got me on silent. I get it.
My phone might have been on silent.
Got me on silent. Okay. Well, we will stream again sometime. It could be next week. It could be the week after. Nobody knows. This is the way. But I will be streaming on Monday with Ben. We're going to be talking about why you shouldn't just buy equipment to fix issues in your room and how that is a bad idea and a total waste of money. So I'll probably get excited about that one. It's going to be a fun time.
Look at Tim's last comment.
This was fun. Shut up, Tim.
He brought it around full circle.
He did. It was fun. It's the best time. Just like D-Box.
Oh, man.
D-Box is cool. No hard feelings, D-Box. You can send me some if you want to, even though you're not in the home.
They went defunct. They're not around anymore.
They're not defunct. They're still in the sim side. They're not in the home.
They got out of the residential side completely.
Yeah. But anyway, before we jump into another topic, we will wrap it up here. Enjoy your weekend, even though it's just Thursday. We got a Friday still. Enjoy the weekend. Stay safe out there. Enjoy those home theater journeys, and we will see you.